Hello, and welcome to Not Another Knitter, because there are oh so many knitting podcasts out there. My name is Liz, and today we're going to talk about yarn crawl, traffic, and parking. So let's get into it. I've been going to yarn crawl since, I want to say 2021 or 2022, and LA resident all my life, so I know the struggles of driving. It is definitely tough to do public transportation if you want to do it, but it is possible. So I'm going to be talking about each in quadrants, and I made these quadrants based on my location personally. I don't want to give too much information about myself, but just for safety reasons. But overall, this is kind of how I would structure it. Kind of if you're coming from the upper LA area and you want to go down that way. And then my other suggestion is to kind of go the farthest and then backwards is what I find pretty useful, because you're gonna go past all of that. You're gonna avoid most of the traffic because you're most yarn shops open at 10 a.m. And so you're gonna avoid all of that morning traffic if you go farthest, and then slowly come back around when the traffic is heaviest, when people are coming home. That's mainly for Thursday, Friday. Saturday and Sunday, it's just kind of trafficy all day. There's no getting around that, except for the mornings. Early mornings still are kind of lighter. So yeah, let's go into it. If this is new to you, you never heard of LA Yarn Crawl, or if you've heard of it, always want to do it, or if you've done it before but want some extra advice on places you've never been. I have not been to every store on this list yet. I do not like driving. I do not drive, and so my partner drives me for most of it, and it is, I also had a job that was very hard to take time off for it, so yeah, I haven't been to all of them, unfortunately, but I did look up the parking so that I could have more information that is helpful, even for myself too, if I decide to go to some of these places. Some of the other reasons I haven't been to some of these yarn shops is just because of it's over an hour and a half away with traffic, so LA is huge. It is tough to get around, but I hope to visit them someday. I really do. Long Beach, I love you, but you're so far. But yeah, let's get into it. I am going to pop in a map here, and I did everything in these quadrants that hopefully made sense to me. If you have been an LA yarn crawl, somebody who's done it for ages, let me know what you think and what your routes or what your plan of action is usually. I love to hear it. I love to hear better ways of doing things, because driving is a pain. Okay, so we're going to talk about first of all, we have 3 new shops added to our list this year. Last year there was only 12 shops, now there is 15 shops. We have the Knitting Lounge, Stitch Stop LA, and Weave and Wander Yarn Shop. I believe 13, the Knitting Lounge has been around. It just was recently, I believe, added. I think I've seen it before on maps when I'm going out that area. But anyways, those are our new yarn shops. And then we're going to talk about the first quadrant, which is out in Glendora and Laverne area. That is Buku Yarns and Phoebe's Needle Art. So those ones are actually relatively easy to get to. They're just kind of further out in the LA County sphere of things. They're kind of getting closer to San Bernardino in the Empire area, and they both have great parking. I've been to these personally. The Phoebe's Needle Shop has a metro parking structure. I believe when I looked it up last, it was free. And yeah, it's not too crowded in those areas. Phoebe's Needle Shop is located in a giant shopping building, kind of like if you've ever heard of the Anaheim packing house, similar to kind of like that. But when I went there, it was pretty chill, not too crazy or crowded, and there's lots of different places to eat out there. When I go out there, sorry, I got distracted. I got a text message. When I go out there, I also like to just go to the surrounding cities because I do not go out to that area very often. So I like to go to, there's a Soup and Fresh out there, not really close by. It's a little further out, but because I'm in those areas, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna make the extra drive and go out there. Soup and Fresh, if you like Soup Plantation, that exists out there. And then we also have some really nice places in Upland, like coffees, and little eatery places. And then, but there's also food by Phoebe's Needle Art. Oops, sorry. There's also food by Phoebe's Needle Art area. So yeah, that's kind of like the area over there in Quadrant 1. In Quadrant 2, we have Quadrant 2 is Stitches in Time Yarn, Alamitos Bay Yarn Company, and Weave and Wander Yarn Shop. So I haven't been to Quadrant 2. Weave and Wander is new, and then Alamitos Bay and Stitches in Time, I have not had the time to go out there because Long Beach is quite far for me. But they both look very beautiful, and I'm gonna try and visit them this year, but we will see. Again, I do not have a car, and going out to Long Beach is very tough when you don't have a car. Okay, so is Stitches in Time, since I have not been there, I use Google Map, and it looks like there is parking, but it might be pay. Oh wait, Stitches in Time parking. I don't know what I wrote in my notes. Stitches in Time parking. Stitches in Time yarn. Parking had lots of parking from what I looked at. Then Alamitos Bay. They also had lots of parking, but that one is where I'm unsure if it's paid or free because it looks like an area I've been to before, where it's like kind of close to the beach, and the closer you get to the beach, there's like these little gates where you have to pay to get into the parking area. But I'm not 100% sure, so just be ready to have to pay for parking. Always, especially with these yarn crawls, you never know if you're going to need cash only for parking or card only, so I always recommend bringing cash with you. Then we have Weave and Wander Yarn Shop, and this one looked like it's closer to the beach, and I did not see a parking structure close by, so be ready to possibly have to park by the beach. And then if it is going to be a hot weekend that weekend, be prepared for crowds because beaches get crowded really quickly on the weekends when it's hot. So be prepared because this weekend is actually going to rain. So if the next weekend's hot, people are going to want to be out. So just be prepared. Since I have not been into those areas that often, I don't have any food or coffee shop recommendations. I'm sure there's plenty around that area. Quadrant 3. Let me get that. Quadrant 3 is Jennifer Knits, Wild Fiber Studio, The Knitting Tree LA, and Atelier. Sorry. I had to look at it a couple times. I'm tired. I had a foster cat, and he kept me up all night, and so I'm very, very tired. The Atelier. So the reason why I included Jennifer Knits in Quadrant 3 over Quadrant 4 is it is a lot closer to Wild Fiber Studios. It's kind of like on the yarn crawl map, a little tricky because it looks like it's closer to the upper quadrant, but it's actually a lot closer to Wild Fiber Studios. And also Quadrant 4 has like 6 yarn shops, so I can only imagine how tough it would be to get there before closing in one day. So first off, we're going to kind of go from the bottom up is like, let's see. Oh yeah, so the Atelier, they have street parking. Last time I went, it was pretty open. I think we went there first and didn't have any problem finding parking, but it is kind of like an industry area, so parking might be a little harder to find around lunch or when people are getting off of work. And it might be a bit of a walk if you can't find parking. Then as we go up, there's the Knitting Tree LA. That one has lots of parking. Just be careful because I think on weekdays there's other like industry shops out there and they have assigned parking for their shops, so just be careful not to park in their area. And then next is from there we go to Wildfiber Studios. This is where traffic gets a little crazier because we're going into Santa Monica, which has tons of crazy construction whenever I go, which is always in Yarn Crawl. So Wildfiber Studio has limited parking and mainly street parking. I cannot remember for the life of me if it was meter parking or if it was by the hour, so be prepared for that. You might have to pay, and you might have to walk a little bit. And then the next one, I did not get to go to Jennifer's Knits, unfortunately, because it was last on the list, and there was like insane amount of construction, and then we ended up going in these weird little circles and I was like freaking out, so we ended up skipping that one, unfortunately, just because I'm hoping that the construction is gone. Just to be aware, so maybe look at it ahead of time to make sure that there's no construction in the area. And then we're also there during like rush hour traffic because it was last on our list, and so it was like, I think we're at a full stop at one point, so just be careful. But I'm hoping to also hit this one up this year because it's been on my list for a while to go to. It's just, again, when you don't have a car and it's like very far, the farther out it gets, the harder it gets to go. It is to go. But I really want to visit. And for those areas, the only place I've been to is the Three Weavers Brewing Company. I highly recommend that. They have nice drinks if you want to chill and knit. But yeah, that's all I have for that. I don't really have any coffee suggestions either because sometimes I'll just get coffee because these ones are like the furthest out from all the rest of them. I usually just get coffee closer to my place. Now, we're at Quadrant 2. Let's see. Oops. Sorry to your ears. Quadrant 2 is... Wait, did I do this wrong? Oh, sorry. We're on Quadrant 4 now. Quadrant 4. That is the Atelier on Ventura, the Altered Stitch, the Little Knittery, Wool House, and the Knitting Lounge, and Stitch Stop LA. Now, this is the hardest day. I think, honestly, depending on where you're coming from, you can probably put Wool House in another category of maybe like with Quadrant 1 or on the way to like Quadrant 2 or 3 if it's too many shops to hit up. But for Quadrant 4, we'll start with the Atelier on Ventura. There is parking in the back, and I've never had issue really finding parking when we went. And there is a very cute llama in front of their shop to take a picture with. Then the Altered Stitch, they actually moved locations this year, but I actually visited earlier this year because I happened to be in the area and they had lots of parking. And it's not paid, so it's free parking. Same with the Atelier on Ventura, they also have free parking. Then the Little Knittery, this one has the probably very difficult parking to find sometimes. It's all street parking, and there's no structures that there is no structures. It's all street parking. And some of the sidewalks are a little bumpy and wonky, so be careful of that as well. But they have fantastic food out there. Highly recommend eating out there. My personal favorite is La Pergoletta. They have delicious pasta, and tiramisu is amazing. But I keep going to La Pergoletta every year when we do Yarn Crawl, but I need to branch out. But it's so good every time I go, I can't help it. But there's tons of other food and restaurants out there worth trying. Then after the Little Knittery, we have Woolhouse. That one is street parking and parking lot paid. I believe it's like $2.50 for parking out there, and they also have a lot of good stuff. This is the closer of the yarn stores for me, so I tend to go there more often. They have a very beautiful bookstore across the street if you want to check it out. It's Vroman's, and they have a coffee shop connected with a bookstore. Tepito Coffee, it's very delicious. Then we also have 9 and 9 Thai Kitchen, which is also very good if you're looking for lunch around that time. Yeah, the only downside with Woolhouse is everything is paid. I think they added meters as well. So I think it's $2.50. You can find free parking, but it's going to be in the neighborhood, so you're going to have to walk for that. Next is Knitting Lounge. I have these are the two new yarn shops added, so I've never been to these ones. But based off of Google Maps, it looks like they have a large parking lot. Not sure if it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, this is only for this shop or something like that, but it looks like a big parking lot. And then Stitch Stop LA had a little bit of a smaller parking lot, so be aware of that. You might have to do street parking if it gets packed. But yeah, those are it for the list of Yarn Crawl. Yeah, there's not much more to say about that. I hope this was useful and you get something out of this regarding to parking, paid parking, finding parking. Love LA, but the downside is car culture is hard and getting around the entire Yarn Crawl is hard. Someday I will do it. I will visit all the shops, but who knows? Maybe this week. We'll see. But yeah, I think next week I'm going to go over some project ideas that I want to do and get for yarn during Yarn Crawl. But yeah, stay safe out there while driving, and I hope to see you next week. Please subscribe and comment. And oh, if you've been to Yarn Crawl, LA Yarn Crawl, talk about your experience. Let us know if there's better routes. Let us know if there's better times. What's your routes like? Have you done all of them? Because that is insane, and I love you for that, and I'm jealous. Yeah, so have a great weekend. Yeah, enjoy Yarn Crawl. Bye.